Hi everyone, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you're a returning watcher. I'm George, I'm the Good Lad Gamer, and today we're going to be pulling Sacred Shards for the Summon Rush event, for the Fragments, for the Epic needed, for the Armanz the Magnificent Fusion. It's a really overcomplicated way of doing things, but I do think it gives the game a bit more of a good feeling, feels like you're sort of progressing, but I don't see why they can't just put these events straight towards a Fragment fusion or an actual fusion for the champion we need. And before we get into pulling shards, guys, I just want to say if you enjoy my content and want to see more of it, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Subscribing makes a huge amount of difference to me. I've got about 200 subscribers now, and my next big milestone is 250. If I can get up to 250 subscribers, I know that I'm making content that people actually enjoy and want to see more of. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, let's get into pulling shards. And just before we get going, guys, a couple of sort of ground rules or sort of normal things that I do in my shard pull videos. I won't go into the kit of any rare or epic champions. I'll only go into the kit of legendary champions. I think for most rares, well, definitely rares, and for most epics, most people already know about their kit, what makes them good in the game, what makes them significant. So I'll only be doing it if I pull any legendaries, and I'll absolutely be doing it if I pull the Armanz champion before I have to do the fusion, and that has happened to me before. I actually have 3 copies of Python on one of my accounts because I pulled him twice before I actually won him from the Fragment summons that he was part of. So it's not unheard of that I will pull one of these champions before I've actually earned it. I'm not going to go into Armanz's kit before I pull him or anything like that, just because I think if you already know about him and if you're already doing this fusion, then you already know about his kit and you already know that he's a good champion. So I'm just going to get straight into pulling the shards. We're going to do 7 on the Galek account. I think this is the Galek account. 7 on the Galek account and then 7 on the Kale account, and hopefully we get some nice free legendaries out of it and the champion needed, or the points needed for the fusion. And it's a bit of a complicated one because the epics needed for the fusion, we are earning fragments for in the event. So we're going to earn the epic fragments. Then once we've got that champion 4 times, we'll then be able to fusion Armanz. So we've got this guy in here. I don't know where he is. This is the epic we need. So we're going to get 4 copies of him, and then we're going to jump in and do the fusion to get Armanz. So, enough talk, I think. Definitely enough talk. Let's pick what champion I want. So, as I said, I've actually got loads of copies of Python on one of my accounts. I don't think I need another one. Who do I need? I think I'm going to go for this champion. I actually can't remember what this champion's called. Should we go and look it up quickly? Let's quit that. And I reckon, just from the look of them, they're probably a Knight Rev. Am I right? I am not right. Oh yeah, I am. Ancora. I don't know what Ancora does. Let's have a quick look at her kit. So she's one of these buddy champions with Right King Narcissus. So she does a shield and a strengthen, and then does some funky stuff with turn meter and cooldown. So, I mean, it's a champion that I don't have, so I think I'm probably going to choose her as the legendary. I've got a Duchess on my Galek account, so I don't need a Duchess on this account. I've got Python, I've got that guy, whatever his name is. I don't have an Elva on each account, and actually Elva's a really good champion. So Uko, that's what that champion's called. But I'm going to go for this one. I don't have her on either account. I don't know much about her. It would be really cool if we got a new legendary, a brand new to this account legendary, and I'm probably going to go for an Ugo. I've got Rector and I've got Gorgorab on both accounts. I've got Ugo on both accounts, but Ugo's really good for Hydra, so it's good to have multiple copies of Ugo, in my opinion. So that's confirmed. Let's get into pulling shards. Fingers crossed the first one straight out the gate, a legendary. It's an epic, of course it is, and it's a Rector, so I definitely didn't need to choose Rector in that summoning pool thing, that we've got the increased chance summoning pool. On to the next one though, don't need to talk about Rector. Actually a really good revival champion, so definitely one to build out, and a Royal Guard on the second pool. That is 2 really good pulls. Royal Guard known for his damage on enemy max HP, but he also has a decreased speed and a decreased defense in his kit, so it makes him a really good champion, especially for dungeon content. So yeah, really good champion. If you have a Royal Guard, don't feed him. On to the next one though, the 3rd Sacred. Come on. Right, Malkith Bloodflock. I'm not going to go into his kit. Not interested in him. I do already have him. I think I've already made him into food for my next 6-star, so I don't need to think about him. On to the next one though, a Husk, another damage based on enemy max HP champion, but this one also has a stun in it. So if you build him with accuracy, he will also stun the enemy team. He's also got a provoke on his A1, and his damage increases according to this champion's current HP, which I think is a bit of an insignificant skill. But the A1 with the provoke and the damage based on max HP with the stun on his A2 makes him an incredible champion. I've just built one out ready for Hydra because he's really good for Hydra. On to the next one though. Not interested in epics. All I've done is talk about epics so far, so I would love to see a legendary. A Kytis, definitely not interested in Kytis. Kytis was actually, a tidbit of information for you, was one of the first epics I ever pulled on one of my accounts. I think it was probably my Kale account, and I thought he was going to be really good, and I actually tried to build him out to 6-star, and then I realised that he was rubbish, and I was never going to use him. We got Hellgazer on the next one, not a champion I'm that interested in. Moving on, please. A legendary would be really nice. I think this is probably number 7. A Hotatsu is actually quite a good champion. I use Hotatsu, I think it was Hotatsu, for his increased defense and continuous heal for faction wars, for Shadowkin faction wars, because it makes him a good champion for that. And a decreased attack on his A2 means that the enemies aren't doing as much damage, and he was actually really useful to me in faction wars, so definitely a champion I would look into if you're struggling for Shadowkin faction wars. And that is all 7 on the Galek account. Very disappointing, no legendaries, but what I'll do is I'll jump over to the Kale account and hopefully we have some better luck over there. So I have definitely realised that I really rushed the shard pulls on my Galek account, so I'm going to try and sort of take my time on this one, maybe enjoy pulling these sacreds. I save up these sacreds so much, and I never do the 2 times on sacreds or anything like that, because I want to keep them back just in case there's a fragment or a fusion and I need to do a summon rush for it. So I'm really going to, on my Kale account in particular on this one, I'm really going to sort of take my time and enjoy pulling these sacreds, because I spend a lot of resources on getting champions ready and stuff like that to get all of the sacred shards that I get. So I think I'm just going to take my time, enjoy it a little bit, and hopefully you guys enjoy that a bit more than me just rushing through and bang 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 and only getting epics, which is horrendous. But before we get into pulling the shards again, I just wanted to say, well, we didn't look at the summon rush event, so we need 3,150 points, and it's 500 points per sacred shard, as you can see down here. So essentially we need to pull, unless we're going to do a mismatch of different shards, I essentially need to pull 7 sacred shards. And as I said before, I save up my sacred shards for these events, so I don't mind spending way more points than I necessarily need for this summon rush, because I like to be able to pull the shards. I like to be able to make content from pulling these shards. So it's not something I mind doing. But if I were you and you were a normal player that didn't play raid all day every day, then absolutely use a mismatch of shards and try and match those points to be the minimum of the reward that you want. If you want to go full ham and pull all of your sacreds to get the top books and everything like that, absolutely do it. But if you're trying to sort of save on resources and working towards the fusion and not an obsessed player that plays all day every day, then yeah, stick to the shards that you've got and just try and get the minimum points that you need to be able to beat that event or that tournament. So on to the sacred shards though. First pull, a legendary straight out the gate, please. It's an epic. It's not a very good epic. Tagore, not interested in Tagore. I'm going to move right on. I'm not going to look at him. I'm not going to give him the time of day. If we pull a significant epic, I might talk about him a little bit. Someone like a Rector or Royal Guard, like we pulled in the last one on my other account. But any of these sort of boring epics that no one ever uses, I'm not going to talk about them. So Delaja, I assume is how you say it, Delaja. Not interested though, don't know anything about Delaja, never seen her or him be used, so I'm just going to skip her. And then we got a Tyrell, who was actually a really good champion back in the day. He was the go-to decrease attack champion for Clan Boss. So on his A1, he's got a chance of decreased attack. It's a 40% chance, and it can be raised to 50%. But I think he's just been a little bit outclassed, and he's definitely been outclassed by other types of teams as well, of team composition. So most people go for an unkillable, where this decreased attack isn't really necessary anymore, but still he was a solid champion and probably still is if you want to build a comp that needs to utilize decreased attack on an A1. I'm not going to go into the rest of his kit. I'm just going to move on. That's what Tyrell is known for. So if you have him and you're struggling with Clan Boss and you're struggling with the Clan Boss killing you early, then absolutely look into a champion with a decreased attack on their A1. On to the next shard. What can we get? Another epic, and it is a Chancellor Yasmin. I'm not going to give her the time of day. I'm going to move straight on to the next one. I've never seen Chancellor Yasmin used. And I don't think I ever will, to be honest. And I watch all the big boy content creators, and I've never seen her used. Phylarja? I don't know how to say that one. Again, another champion that I've not really seen being used. I think I might have seen this champion being used in Faction Wars for the Dwarves Faction Wars, but not a champion that I'm going to build out anytime soon unless she becomes really viable for something like Curse City or something like that. So not interested. Moving on to Grunch Killjoy. Again, another champion that's not very significant. I feel a bit of a theme coming on here. Not going to give him the time of day again. I didn't even build him out for Organ Tribes Faction Wars or anything like that. So if I haven't found a need for him, then unless it's the only epic you've got, I don't think there's a need for you guys either. On to the next one. Another epic. What is going on? Masamoto. Don't know what happened there. Masamoto, another champion that I haven't really seen used, so I'm not going to go into their kit. And I think that was probably the last one. That was the last one. So not any legendaries in this shard pool. It's so disappointing. Hopefully, with the champion chase coming, I think there's a champion chase in this fusion. So hopefully with the champion chase, I can start pulling some more shards, and hopefully we can see some other legendaries coming into my teams. That'd be really nice. And as always, guys, if you pulled anything significant to your account or any champions that you might need some tips on, if they're any good or where you can use them in the game or anything like that, please drop a comment and let me know what you pulled. Definitely let me know if you pulled any better champions than I did, because apart from some really good epics in there, I got nothing else. I'm really disappointed in this shard pool video. But hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it, and I'll see you next time.